I'm sure you already understand the fundamentals of restaurant etiquette, such as which knife and fork to use, and not talking with your mouth full. But when it comes to creating a lasting impression, it's often the small details that truly count. The things that you do that other people don't, and that separate you as a truly well-mannered gentleman. In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 very simple but often overlooked aspects of restaurant etiquette. And you can use these when dining with friends, family, romantic partners, and especially in business. Hello, my name is James, and I am on a mission to create a generation of gentlemen. So let's begin with our first simple restaurant etiquette tip. That is to refill other people's glasses before filling your own. Often at a restaurant, there will be a shared bottle of water or shared bottle of wine. And if your waiter isn't regularly coming to top them up and you need to refill your glass, make sure that you refill the glasses of the other diners before doing your own. Even if, let's say, your glass is completely empty and theirs is still half full, give it a top up before attending to your own. Now, they may refuse more. Perhaps if it's wine and they don't want to drink any more alcohol, they may say, "Oh, no thank you." That's okay, you can still go ahead and refill your own glass, but make sure you offer. Every time you want to refill your own glass, offer to refill theirs first. If you're drinking at a slower pace, maybe you still have a glass that's mostly full, but theirs is empty, go ahead and fill theirs first and then give yours a little top up. I've seen women on social media talking about how much this makes them feel important and special, and it's also true when dining with either friends, business people, or family. It just shows consideration. If somebody leaves the table mid-meal, should you stop eating? Yes, it's certainly good etiquette to pause eating if somebody needs to leave the table, either to take a phone call or to use the restroom. Now, I will say that if you are the one who is leaving the table, it's really best to try and avoid leaving the table mid-meal. Please go to the restroom before or after. But if for whatever reason you find yourself with a diner away from the table, just take a pause and stop eating and then continue when they come back. Why do we do this? It's not just some made-up etiquette rule. It's so that you can continue the meal at the same pace, because they will feel incredibly awkward if they come back to the table. You've already finished your meal and then they have to eat theirs while you just sit there watching them. And this is especially important if you are sharing food, because it's very rude to eat maybe more than your fair share of the food while they're away from the table. Good restaurant etiquette begins before you even arrive at the restaurant. I'm not simply talking about being on time, I'm also talking about making an effort with your appearance. Dress for whatever level of formality is suitable for that restaurant. If you're at a fancy steakhouse in Lower Manhattan, a suit and tie is probably the way to go. If you're somewhere more casual, maybe a Tex-Mex in Austin, then a polo shirt and a pair of jeans is more than enough. But make sure you dress appropriately for the occasion, and also make sure that you are adequately groomed. Now, one element of grooming that I believe is often overlooked for men is skincare. After all, your face is one of the first things people see. For my skincare needs, I'm using Tige Hanley because they provide a simple, structured system that really works. I'd recommend starting off with their Level 1 system, which features a daily face wash, an AM moisturizer, a PM moisturizer, and an exfoliating scrub. Not only does it keep my skin looking and feeling great, but these routines take just 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes in the evening. Recently, I had been having some issues with a bit of redness and dry skin, and these products from Tige Hanley have really helped. So I want you gentlemen to try this for yourselves. We're actually teaming up with Tige Hanley to give you 40% off your first box, plus 20% off for life, and a free gift valued at $20. All you have to do is click the link below. Now, I love food as much as the next guy, but when dining at a restaurant, remember to focus on the conversation, not the menu. Especially when dining out for business or on a date, you don't want to spend more than a couple of minutes looking at that menu. Instead, make a selection or ask the waiter for his recommendation. Go with that and then get back to the conversation. I actually got this tip from a recent podcast I did with one of the founders of Pandora, the jewelry brand, and he was telling me about how he will dine out pretty much every night of the week. And it's so important that when you're dining with somebody else, not to get your head stuck in the menu or obsess too much about the food, but to remember the real reason why you're there, which is to form a deeper connection with the other people. Following on from that, it's very important not to make a fuss. If the waiter brings something that's a little bit different from what you ordered, then do you really need to send it back? Obviously, if you have allergies or a strong preference, that's a totally different matter. But I think it's a real indicator of etiquette and honestly being a modern gentleman that you don't make an unnecessary fuss. Somebody brings the food and it's a little bit cold or it's a little bit different from what you ordered. Honestly, who cares, really? Aren't we there to spend time with other people? Aren't we there for conversation? I recently had dinner out with a group of people and there was one person in the group that was continually making a fuss, asking for changes to the menu, asking for things that weren't on the menu, sending things back, making all of these special requests. Honestly, not only did she embarrass herself, but she kind of embarrassed the whole table. I think that you should get what you deserve when it comes to being a customer, and I very much believe in good service, but don't become, let's be honest, a pain in the ass. At the same time, it's very important to acknowledge the wait staff, to say please, to say thank you, maybe even to address them by their name. I know this is something that's very common in the US, a bit less so in Europe. But the way you treat a waiter, a server, a busboy, a maitre d' tells the people you're dining with a lot about you. It's very nice to be kind and suave and charming with somebody that you're on a date with or a potential business partner. But how do you treat the person that has no influence over your life? How do you treat people when there's nothing to get back in return? That truly is a test of character, and it's certainly something that people will notice. Tip number 6 for dining etiquette is to keep the bill simple. Never argue about things like who had more of the shrimp appetizer, who had more drinks than the other person. When dining out, there are simply two options. You either split the bill evenly or one person pays. Obviously, on a date, I believe a gentleman should always pay. And when you're dining, perhaps with a new person or with friends, whoever has done the inviting typically should be the person that pays. Whoever picked the restaurant, whoever suggested the date, it's your responsibility to pay. Obviously, as you become closer friends with people, then splitting the bill is more than okay, and I do that with my friends all the time, as I'm sure you do. But if it's a newer friendship and you're looking to form a stronger relationship with that person, if you were the one who took the initiative to invite them out and book the restaurant, you pay. And my final tip for restaurant etiquette is actually about leaving the restaurant. That is to plan your exit. Especially on a date, you should have a plan for what's going to happen at the end of the meal. This could mean knowing a bar nearby that you could go to for a nightcap. It could mean getting your car from the valet or the parking lot and offering her a lift home. Or if you don't drive, it could mean ordering her an Uber or walking her to the nearest station. You may also have a couple of different options in mind depending on how well the evening goes, but the important thing is you don't have this awkward, lingering, indecisive phase at the end of the meal. Personally, when I would do first dates, most of the time I would always make it a rule that I would just take them home, I would drop them off, and that would be that. And I think there's something quite gentlemanly and restrained about having the initiative to take them home, but then also having the discipline to know that nothing else will be happening that evening, at least for the first date. but of course there are sometimes exceptions. Gentlemen, let me know which of these 7 tips from today's video was your favorite down with a comment. And if you are looking to find a meeting place for like-minded modern gentlemen, both in your area and all over the world, I highly encourage you to check out our private members club. We have gentlemen in our club going for dinner together all of the time, getting dressed up, checking out new restaurants. So if that's something you would like to add to your social life, you might want to apply using one of the links in the description. Of course, don't forget to check out Teach Hanley and get 40% off that first skincare box. And I'll see you in the next video.